Hey guys, what's up? It's Wildo. Just want to make a quick video on some new spider strategies that I've been trying recently. So, this last past event was Noelle. She's definitely the hardest to play, just because her spells aren't very useful against anything the spider does, and it also doesn't like give you any boost to do more damage to the spider, like some of the others like Raoul and Elena, which are two of the stronger heroes. But I've been doing some things differently recently, and they've actually been helping me save scrolls, and also I feel like I'm just doing more damage overall than I have in the past. So I'm going to start it actually with solo. So previously, I always would have a Bloodstalker in my deck for solo. Um, and I just have decided, and I think I'm going to leave Bloodstalker even off just because there's a couple of reasons. So when your um, gear becomes more and more powerful, your survivability becomes a lot better, and you can actually take quite a few lunges and spits even, and the little wisps actually have a chance to even heal your stuff up before it dies, which allows you to do more damage. So ultimately, the reason I remove Bloodstalker is because if you have like Scourges, I'm using Rolling Rocks. That's actually a new thing. Sometimes I'll do like one Rolling Rock and one Scourge like this, depending upon what the spider's doing. But the Rolling Rocks can get you down the lane faster. If they weren't ascended, I wouldn't be using them at all. But it is also like for pickups and stuff. Like if they pick up right off the bat, sometimes they do that in solo. The Rolling Rocks, I mean, since they spawn four at a time, they pick up, basically four useless units as opposed to like something that you didn't want them to pick up. So anyway, so this is kind of the setup I go with now, and it works out really well. I also don't use Phase Assassin just because she's 5 mana, kind of like Bloodstalker's 5 mana. I try to keep this as low as possible, for the reasons I just explained. So, Bloodstalker takes life from 15% off of each one of these. So the problem with that is if you have like Scourges and rocks out there, then the whips are gonna have to heal that 15% on each one of the 8 Scourges and the 4 rocks. And what happens is it takes away from the time that they could be healing the ones that you want them to heal quicker. And like a bad lunge could just take them out because they're too slow to heal, especially with Trinity. Um, you got to keep them alive. And my Trinity actually, even because of my power right now, I think this is my strongest geared hero. Can actually take like a one lunge, even I think like in 36 even. So it's pretty cool. Anyway, so this is the setup I use. The Rolling Rocks. The strategy I use for solo is I now only will use the fire, or I'll use a fire in the later levels, and then I'll use either a wind or a freeze. Previously, I was doing like both, and even in solo, and I found that you can do basically the same amount of damage with just using one. So if some spiders that usually have like a pools down one lane, but under the pools there's no webs. So that would be, a case where you can use the freeze to like just clear the pools so you can get down there. Or you might have a lane that has only webs and no pools, in which case you could use the wind, right? Instead of both. So, I mean, there's definitely like, when you get some of the higher levels and you play them a bunch of times, sometimes there is a benefit for timings and stuff to use, one of each still at different intervals. It just depends on the spider, but typically now I save scrolls by only doing one of each. I usually also prioritize the wind, because in the later levels you need the freeze, especially if you don't have 5-star gear yet and such. Like I think I did actually. I made it to my 5-star piece, and I literally only bought the 1 rounds of each scroll and uh, one extra round of torch for every single reset. I think it's like just under 3k gems, and my second account, who what only had 3-star gears, was able to reach the 5-star, which is pretty awesome with just that. And it was basically based around this strategy, and I use the same strategy on my main account as well. So just trying to be as resource efficient as possible. So okay, let's talk a little bit about group now. So I'm going to show my group deck. So this is pretty much, I use this pretty much for every hero. So with Noel, sometimes you don't need the commander, because really all you're benefiting from is getting the Trinities in one lane, I guess, and also the undead raids. And so like your Bloodstalkers can do a little more. I mean, sorry, your Fearless Leader can get everything to do a little more damage in one lane. But sometimes sometimes the spider spits down the constantly in one lane, and then I'll get rid of the commander if that's happening, and I'll just like figure that out. So anyway, this is the build. If I'm doing a perma freeze, obviously I will swap the Soul Leech for and usually both of the undead raids for Magic Construct. But this is pretty much the standard one that I'll use for like one of each setups. So cool. Anyway, so I'm just going to show some gameplay around this past. There's the last two events. There's just a few cool things that I can show you that will hopefully help you understand the thought process and how it can help make things go a little smoother for you. So if you look here, so you'll see me do this a lot. She's in with Emily. Bye. So you'll see me do this a lot. So I delay the start, and so much so where like I'll even let two of them go. Right, I'll let 2 whole resets go. And what I mean by resets are like, see how like your next cards, and there's like a timer. So that I use that all the time. So I found that like a lot of times, um, like if they do pickups right off the bat, it's usually only for the exact segment of right before the first reset. So what I'll usually do is just wait, and then right before a card comes out, I will put a unit down, and usually that helps me miss the pickups at the beginning. There's several levels usually that's the case. But there are some that actually you have to even delay it more, and then usually it's like that second reset. So there's numerous reasons to delay, um, numerous reasons to delay. But basically, if you see like the spider doing a bunch of lunges at the very beginning, even for like the first 30 or 40 seconds in group, you can basically keep your units back and still spawn them. So they're, the scourges are multiplying, you're still getting your MCs larger and everything, you're still getting out, but you're just staying back. And that's why I don't blow a wind or freeze in those cases, because I'm letting the pool slow down my units. And that's why I'll also like put a fearless leader. I'll put a fearless leader in the lane, you know. So you'll see here, like, I mean, I got rid of one, so I waited an entire reset. So even though he's launching stuff, the reason I'm waiting on here is not because he does pickups, but because I want to go as slow as possible to miss those really nasty lunges, right? So I'm just sitting back as far as I can. The problem is Healing Wave actually speeds up your units, so I'm just trying to stay in as many different lanes as possible, stay as far back as possible, because I want to get slow down the lane. And the ideal thing is, see these spiders, you want to get them to your guys to hit them right outside of the range of the lunge, because like I just did there. So if you can stay outside of the lunge, you can kind of use them to stay back while he's still launching, right? I screwed up. Yeah, so see how he does another lunge, I think, and I just messed it up. Yeah, that was a mistake. So I just wasted this whole thing. I did all that and then wasted it. But you know what I mean? That's why you got to kind of count them. You got to count them. Had I waited just one more second and let him do that lunge, I would have done way more damage on the second attempt. But you live, you learn, and it's all about learning, guys. So I'll show you. I think the first one you saw, I did just under 100 But this one with that mistake, I'll show you. Show you the damage. I don't remember what it was, but I'm sure it's gonna be less. Probably like 70 something. Like that's still 20 million less though. So we'll see. But yeah, he does a lot of pickups. They'll always pick up MC over everything else. They have a program like that. But raids usually they'll pick up before everything else. So let's just see this. Okay, 89. It actually wasn't only 10. It was actually not that much worse. But it would have been way better. I probably would have been like in the 120s if I did that right, if I did that better. So anyway, so the next one, just want to show some of the last event. So it's kind of on the same thing. So I don't always delay. I don't always use the delay strategy, but just in these you'll see I use it quite a bit because I used it on 33. I use it on 34. It just depends on what the spider's doing. Now, of course, I didn't show the first attempts on any of these, but it's basically this is me after learning the spider. I always try to figure out and see if there's a better, more efficient way that I can do more damage. But you see me do this in a lot of them though. So I know that he's going to do pickups. That's why I needed a raid out before 114. In this case, because I had Scourges out first, I could have let him pick it up actually, and I could have maybe salvaged a little more of the raids because the raids are going to get nailed here. Yep. But you see how I kept him back far enough to now I'm ready to go because he did his lunge, the one that I was trying to avoid, right? Because I noticed he didn't do a whole lot after that, right? And then that is the pro tip right there, right? So after the win freeze, after all that, then you can if you miss the spit, your Scourges stay alive. So yeah, even my Scourges are still alive right now, right? They'd be for sure dead on that after that second spit, had I not juked the first one. So it's just tiny little changes like this can literally make it so you do twice as much damage as you would have normally done. So huge difference, and it's honestly why I'm usually top damage in my group. Um, I mean, I think it's just because of these small changes that make a huge difference. Orca can always give me a run for my money. If we wanna go head to head, Orca will beat me every time in Spider. He's the best in the game. But I definitely give him a run for his money. Outside of the Orca though, I mean usually I'm doing, even other people who in our guild who do have 5-star equipment, and I mean I only usually spend one extra of each gem and one extra of each torch, and then I usually even slow down the torches because all my heroes are 9s, with the exception of Elena, who's a 10. So that definitely gives me more of an edge and whatever, because not everybody with gear have that high of stuff, but some of them have all 10s and still don't do near as much damage, and it's really all comes down to how these levels are played. It really does. So see how I just my Scourges are alive. I didn't blow, like I still do one of each. The reason I do one of each is because now there's no, I missed the juke though there. It was huge. So you saw I did a 108 the first one. Since I missed that spit, I missed the spit. So look what just happened there. So not only did I miss the spit, but had I not missed the spit, then my raids would still be alive and he would have been picking up my raids instead of all that other stuff. So just these little teeny mistakes can make a huge difference, because right now this one's not going so well. This other attempt, I think I did my best one was 118 on this spider with this strategy, but it was when I had Scourges out, I missed the delayed start, and I missed that first spit. And you can see here he does some nasty stuff at the end. So I was actually doing 2 of each on this one just to miss that stuff at the end. But 108 was my first run, and me missing the juke and then having all my guys get picked up made a big difference, right? Yeah, so it was almost 40,000 different, right? So yeah, I'll show, 1 more. it's basically the same, similar prospect, but it's just on the next spider. Yeah, 34. But you'll see, like, I mean, I do this on what, so you've seen it now 3 spiders, but it's a pretty common thing. So I'm waiting for the reset. So see this, watch right this. He must have did some bad pickups or whatever, because I just dropped 2. So, and it's all observations that I made off the first one, right? So usually when you see that those spiders come out, that's when you've cleared the spits. See how he starts throwing them? That's usually my telltale sign that okay, now I'm good to go. Now I'm good to push. I use those type of things a lot. So here's a move that you'll see me do a lot. I know he does a bad lunge right at like 55 or something. So I played those back so they're still alive because there's not much after this, and like that little change there kept my scourges alive, and now there's a big segment here where I just get to do a bunch of damage. And keep in mind, if my scourges are alive, if I get another Bloodstalker, which is right here, and Trinities, he's got 8 more things he just sucked a life off of, and I'm just doing that much more damage. So I really recommend the one of each strategy and group, using all your torches, and you'll do a crap ton of damage. And it's all up to these just observations, delays, and then just watching what times the spiders do things. The more observant you can be quicker, obviously the better you'll do. Sometimes I play like both my accounts with Evo so that I can get a scout everyone, and actually I do actually really like better damage when I can play the level a few times with my second account, and then play my main. I can really capitalize on the damage. But so this strategy I don't always use. It looks like I always use this delay strategy based on these 3, but really I switch it up a lot. I switch it up quite a bit. Sometimes the spider is really bad towards the end. So sometimes what I'll do is I'll blow a wind at the beginning to try to get down there quicker, get my damage in earlier, and then I can make some decisions. Whether if it's the last 30 seconds, I could potentially choose to use a couple of frees at the end if I want to try to get really high damage if it doesn't do much towards the beginning, or I can just know that I gotta get my damage in early, and then the ending's just not gonna be very good. So I'll also change up unit composition, but just know what another thing is like if he spits off the bat, right? I'll tend to, if I can, throw a fearless leader or a snake or something that's really tanky, because usually a snake can take at like 13 with good gear can take like 2 or 3 hits. And same with Fearless. Now, if you get something like Valkyrie out there, he's a little more squishy, and at a 13 with like all 5-star gear, he can take 1 spit, but 2 he'll be for sure gone, right? So it's all about like knowing and watching what they're doing at the beginning, so that you don't lose that progress down the lane, right? So, and then you can put Scourges after, right? If he only spits once, you can put Scourges or something like that you don't want to die later, so you keep them alive. So anyway, I hope as always this is helpful. I can show you also one more thing. I'll show you one more thing. So my last two events. So here's Noel. So someone unfortunately killed the spider early, so I didn't get to use all my torches. As you can see, I used 452. But if you see in my group, and Orca wasn't pushing at all. But even so, I mean, he wasn't. Orca, like I said, if he wants to, will take me out. But like these other people, right? I know Noel is not a good hero, but they have 5-star gear, and my damage is double, right? And like I use less torches, right? So just the efficiency of this, like I could have finished Noella probably in like probably the 5.8 range is what I assume, just based on kind of the damage I was doing, which is five 0.8 billion is great damage on bronze with the worst hero, right? On Gold Week, I think I even got her to like 8. It was insane, but I did get like 2 wins. Some of the resets, so and it was Gold Week. Makes a big difference if you have Ascended PA. And then here's one that was, I think this is the one before that, which is just Terran. So I almost used almost all of them, but I did 7.2, right? And I was in Group B. They didn't even think we weren't even gonna go for 40 for the second one because we initially were gonna play it all as one, but it went really well on Friday. So they're like, hey, let's just make an extra round, and we made it to 36 with just me and the wife and few others. So anyway, I hope this is helpful. And I'm typically, I'd say my worst events in the last probably 12 events was still over 5 billion um, when using over 60 torches. So cool. I hope this is helpful as always. Have a good one. Bye.